Hi, Yorgo.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Today is the day when we are launching a new show.
Okay.
When we are launching a new show. But one problem is there. Already I have seen one problem. I have noticed one
Oh,
problem already. Why is it
before
written
you
Trisha Ghoshal?
well, in your name? No, in your name it's Orko Bhattacharya. In my name it's
Trisha
Trisha.
Ghoshal. That's wrong, na? Change it.
My name is Trisha Ghoshal. That's there from the from whenever I was named. Why should I change it? What
It
are you
should
talking
be
about?
Trisha. It should be Trisha Cap Ghoshal, na? Because you are
Just
wearing a cap. Okay, now lift the cap like this. Now it becomes Trisha Uncapped Ghoshal.
just because we are doing a show on uncapped players, which is there in the headline, thumbnail, everywhere, you will crack this very, very poor joke. I think you are the reason, and your jokes are the reason we don't get views. They run away
Who
when
said
we
I
start.
am? But I am getting brownie points. I have
You
checked.
are getting
I'm
brownie points.
getting
Who is sending you
for poor
brownies and
jokes.
points?
Brownies is very much needed in this time.
I can understand. Please,
Okay,
please let's
okay.
start the show.
So uncapped, for those who have little doubt about what is uncapped, whenever a player receives his or her debut for
Hmm.
a cricket team or maybe a football team, any team, it's called that he or she is getting a cap. That's why how he becomes a capped player. So anybody who has represented his nation is a capped player. Those who haven't yet represented their nation is an uncapped player. So IPL has so many uncapped players every year. Some uncapped players really perform well. So today we'll be discussing about our favorite uncapped players. We'll be rating them top three as our top three, and it will be a new show. Its name is Half IPL's Full Review, because we'll be bringing more shows on the IPL which stopped midway. So, Trisha,
Absolutely.
should I
Yep.
start with my uncapped player, first uncapped player, who is in the third position? I've kept him in the third position.
Before you start, please tell the viewers that we are gonna, speak about the players in a
Hmm.
particular order. So the
Hmm.
third will be spoken about first. Like we have,
Yeah.
rated our players one, two, three, and we'll talk about the third player first, then the second, then the first. So Orgo is starting with the
And
third with
And
his
the viewers will
position.
also have to start with subscribing our channel and then liking our Facebook page and then following our Instagram page. That's the order. That's the order of the
Okay,
day.
perfect.
Okay, without wasting any time, my third player is Ruturaj Gaikwad, the player whom CSK tried out last season. Remember, he was tried out as an opener, couldn't perform in the first few matches in the last season, but CSK stuck with him. He scored 350s at the fag end of the tournament. CSK couldn't qualify, but he impressed. This season, he was made the first choice opener. Remember, Cheteshwar Pujara and Robin Uthappa were in the CSK unit who could open, but Ruturaj was given the confidence. This year also, he started on a very bad note. In the first three games, he couldn't score more than 10 runs. But credit to Dhoni and the CSK management that they stuck with him. And in the remaining games, he scored 250s. Overall, in 7 innings, he scored 120, 196 runs, close to 200. His average was 28 and strike rate was 129. But the average was a little bit less because he couldn't get going in the first three games. But when he got going, every time from the fourth game, he and his partner, who was already in form, Fab du Plessis, was stitching together more than 50, 60, 70 odd run partnerships, at times 100. And that was giving CSK a great start. And also about Ruturaj, what I want to say, I always felt that Ruturaj, because he is not a bulky guy, he doesn't have a intimidating figure, he won't be able to survive in T20 cricket. But because he can pierce the gap, he has this ability to find the boundary on regular intervals, he clicked very much in the power plays, and that's why Ruturaj is the player who comes in the third position for me.
Right. I agree. Ruturaj was, I mean, for CSK, he did play really well. But for me, in the third position, in the half IPL, he remained the orange cap holder. And currently in the comments section, I can see Shubha Broto has already revealed the name. It's none other than Harshal Patel. And why
A
Harshal Patel? Because,
purple cap holder,
yeah, sorry, I said
purple cap
orange
holder.
cap. Sorry.
Yeah, because I know you have a liking for Shikhar Dhawan. I know that.
Yeah. No, actually, with this talk about Shikhar Dhawan captaining in the Sri Lankan series has taken my, mind off
Okay.
the cap color. Anyway, so the purple cap holder, Harshal Patel, took 17 wickets in 7 games. And he has been, actually, with Harshal Patel, he has been playing IPL for a long time. So he had, till this IPL, he never really made a good impact. But what was very impressive with him is his variations at the death, because that is where mostly bowling lineups suffer. And he also has a good Yorker. The I think he began the IPL so well against a lineup like Mumbai Indians. He took 5 wickets. That is where he set the tone for the half tournament. Uh, Also, the another positive point for Harshal, he showed it against Punjab Kings when he scored 31 odd of just 13 balls. He showed he can bat as well, and he can, hit a few good shots as well. So I will keep him at number 3. He definitely seems to be a good pace bowling all rounder prospect in the future. Who's number 2 for
Yeah.
you, Mr. Bhattacharya?
Yeah, definitely. For Harshal Patel, I want to say one thing. Just like Ruturaj, nobody thought Harshal Patel would be a good death bowler, but he proved that in
True.
this season. And had the season ended at the right time, he might have got 30 wickets the way he was bowling. The
True.
second person who is in the second position in my list is none other than Chetan Sakariya. Chetan Sakariya has a story. Before I get into the IPL details, he has a big story. He had a personal tragedy before the IPL auction. His brother passed away, and then he was selected for IPL. He comes from a very modest background. In IPL, remember, he was representing a team which had lost someone like Jofra Archer, the main fast bowling option of Rajasthan Royals. Just after one game, even Ben Stokes, who was supposed to bowl, even he couldn't continue because he was injured. So in a lineup of where Morris and Chris Morris and Mustafizur Rahman was there, Sakaria made a name for himself. He took 7 wickets in 7 innings, and most importantly, remember they were playing the first leg in Mumbai, Wankhede Stadium, where the pitch is absolutely flat and the boundaries are very small. Like I can also hit sixes if I try for 100 balls. So the boundary was that small, but
There is a
still,
limit of confidence. There is a limit where you
I
say
am
that this is
all I am.
confident. Orgo, you are overconfident to another level. Like you have
You have to
gone
become
somewhere, you have taken off. Like I could have hit sixes. Yes, sure, of course.
100 balls. I need 100 balls. Okay, let me continue. Let me continue. Then
Please.
this guy in Mumbai, that Wankhede Stadium, in his debut takes 3 for 31 against Punjab. He didn't stop there. In the same Wankhede ground, he took 3 for 36 against CSK. So 3 wickets for less runs. You should say that we should say that less because in Mumbai,
Absolutely.
8 per over is a good economy rate. And then remember, he was brilliant in the field because nowadays it's not like earlier when bowlers used to just bowl and go in the third man region and field. Now bowlers will also have to be good fielders. Australia, England, and even India are also having this kind of bowlers who can field well. He took diving catches, he took catches which was over his head, he jumped and took those catches. 2 catches I remember like that. So that's why he's an all-round quality. And also remember, India is in search of a left-arm pacer for a long period of time. So Sakaria can be that choice for the Indian cricket team.
You know what? But there is one person who doesn't like Sakariya at all.
Who?
Who just cannot stand Sakariya at all.
Who is that?
Nicholas Puran, because that is where his, from Sakariya started his run of zeros. Because and that ball was extremely poor. That ball wasn't a ball which gets a wicket. I think that also shows the importance of having good fielders. That was a brilliant catch.
Correct.
Now, I have a question for Shubhabrata because I can clearly see he is watching. Because he's the one who revealed who's my third choice. I would love to ask him. I'll give you a hint. Can Shubhabrata answer who's my second choice? So this guy, whoever is my second choice, he came into the scene after his stint in the Under-19 World Cup, which was 2 years back. And then he has just grown on from there and has now become a very good pace bowler. And he was that good in IPL that Henrik Nokia didn't even get a single game even after he came back after the...
So, can I say one thing? He
Yes.
made Nokia outdated.
Absolutely. And Orgo continues his poor jokes. So I think all of you have guessed by now, it's Avesh Khan. And when I'm talking about Nokia, I should also not forget that, Rabada wasn't in the best of forms, but Delhi kind of didn't suffer because Avesh Khan actually made up for that. And when you have pacers in the team like Rabada, Nokia, and you still make a name for yourself, you definitely have done something right. An interesting part is Avesh Khan actually went as a net bowler in the Australian series. And probably that is where he also gained the confidence. And maybe a few more injuries and Avesh Khan maybe could have made his own debut itself, you know. And Avesh Khan was also, if I'm not wrong, he was the second highest wicket taker this season, right?
14
He picked
wickets.
up 14 wickets. Yeah, he picked up 14 wickets in 8 games. And throughout, what I remember clearly, I was watching a match with my father, and he bowled 1 over of consistent Yorker length, and that is brilliant. And I don't remember who was the. It was, I think, against Punjab only. I'm not too sure, but somebody couldn't score more than 4 or
Yeah.
5 runs in that over. And a death over bowler like that is absolutely precious. And he has also now gone to England. What is interesting is he has gone as a net bowler in England conditions. You remember a few days back we were talking about, I think, Prithvi Shaw playing county in England so that he
Yeah.
can improve on. Avesh Khan actually, because he's going as a net bowler and he gets to bowl to Indian batters, he can also see how the England bowlers are bowling, what's exactly happening in the pitch. And I think once he returns from the England series, he will be a much better bowler. I still can't forget how precisely he was bowling those Yorkers. Somebody at the death nowadays is very precious because be it ODIs, be it T20Is, the death over has become so significant that the match completely changes in those 4 or 5 overs. Who's your top half? I mean, not top half, completely at the top.
See, now that you have said everything about Avesh Khan, he was my first choice. So I can't say anything more than what you have said. If I say it will be a repetition, and then people will complain, अरे तुम्हारा तुम लोगों का वीडियो 20 मिनट का हो जाता है 50 मिनट का हो जाता है. So I will not waste even one word. You go to your first man on the list because my choice at the first position was Avesh, and you have said everything about it.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. My, I always believe that if an uncapped bowler makes you or forces you to stand up and take notice of himself or herself, even in women's IPL, when there are stars around, that uncapped player is someone to watch out for. And why am I building this guy up is because he had a team which has batters like Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers, Glenn Maxwell, you name them. And RCB has that team. He's down with COVID. He comes back. he still misses a match because he's weak. And when he comes out, the next match, I clearly remember having spoken to, I don't know, probably I was speaking to either Deep Das Gupta or Bodia Mazumdar, and I was, I was actually worried. I was like, Padikkal has been in very good form. Oh, by the way, for people who have missed the, who have still not guessed the name, it's Devdutt Padikkal. So he had, what was really fantastic was the way he came to himself. Yes, in domestic, I know a lot of people will say he was carrying a good domestic form. But carrying a good domestic form and then going through the whole quarantine, COVID, weakness, and then coming back and performing, scoring a century as well, I think Devdutt Padikkal has done really well. Obviously, for the uninitiated, I'll just say that he is from the state of Karnataka. And even last IPL, he was quite impressive. But in the last IPL and this IPL, you can clearly see that he has matured. He doesn't try to force the pace like he was trying to do in the last IPL, because obviously he was trying to make an impression. He played 6 games this year because he missed the first one, and he scored 195 runs. Uh, but his strike rate last year was a concern, but this year nothing was a concern. I think the only concern that RCB probably, the opponents used to have is when will Padikkal get out, because now interesting part is last year Padikkal used to open with Aaron Finch, and Aaron Finch clearly was struggling. So it was easier probably to notice Padikkal. But this year, he was opening with Virat Kohli. And when you open with Virat Kohli, the entire limelight is generally on Virat Kohli. To steal the show, to steal the limelight from him, you must have done a commendable job. And that is what he has done. Orko, there's one more very important point that comes to my mind, that Shikhar Dhawan has been in the has cemented his place and is a constant in the ODI team. Nobody will ever question him the way he plays. But in T20 eyes, there is no fixed opener as yet. If you see, other than Rohit, one side is fixed, and the Indian team keeps experimenting with KL Rahul. Virat Kohli has recently opened in one of the matches. Shikhar Dhawan at times opens the innings. So Devdutt Padikkal can actually bring in two things. He can bring in that left hand right hand combination, which obviously is, I wouldn't say it's game changing, but it's one important aspect because you are continuously disturbing the bowlers. And the second thing is, he can also get in this permanence in the team. Like, there is a permanent opener. You are at number 3, and somebody is playing at number 4. The other brilliant part about Devdutt Padikkal is that he actually will remind you of a young Yuvraj Singh. I mean, comparing him to Yuvraj Singh obviously wouldn't do a huge justice to him, but still, he will actually remind you of Yuvraj Singh, his shots. He makes batting look ridiculously easy. It actually seems, the way Orko just cracked this bad joke that, he can also hit sixes. I think Padikkal is the reason he believes he can bat that well. Is that correct, Orko? Is Padikkal the reason you think batting is that easy?
Yes, and everybody talks about Padikkal's 100 against Rajasthan Royals. But remember the match where Harshal Patel got hit for 37 runs against CSK and RCB were chasing more than 190. Padikkal, everybody
Absolutely.
will forget that innings of 40 odd where he was hitting every ball for either 4 or 6s in the first four
Absolutely.
or five overs. It's because Virat Kohli got out and continuously there was fall of wickets. RCB couldn't make a
A
match of
huge
that total.
concern.
Yeah, but RCB were going at a run rate of 12 because Padikkal was himself going at a run rate of more than 200. And he gave a brilliant start. It was surprising that Virat Kohli and the rest couldn't capitalize on that thing. And that's why, yeah, that's why that was a match in Mumbai. And that's why I always feel if I get 100 balls, I'll definitely score 1-6.
Right. Now that Orgo has said this, I don't think I have anything else to hear. But you guys can always tell us what you want to hear. Oh, Shubhabrata has commented. I'm so sorry, Shubhabrata. We missed it. Padikkal reminds me of Yuvraj. Yes, Shubhabrata, Padikkal reminds all of us of
Already
Yuvraj.
said? Yeah.
Yeah, his shots are as elegant as UVs. True, true. Maybe still a long way to go, I would still say, because Shubhabrata, I always believe a batter probably has, a third season, second season becomes tougher. In the first season, he did play well, but he wasn't this destructive. Remember, now that he's this destructive, the opponents will be more careful of Padikkal, and now he will find it a little more difficult. But if you can survive it, then you can easily, know the difference between good players, average players, and great players. So that's it for today. We have named our top three uncapped players according to Orgo and me. For Orgo, if you can just tell your order once, your top three
My
players.
order is, yeah. So it's Ruturaj. Ruturaj is in the third position. Then it's Sakariya, and then it's Avesh Khan at the first.
For me, yeah, for me, because I don't like to go Orgo's way, so I will go with from top to bottom, right? My number one is Devdutt Padikkal, number two Avesh Khan, and number three Harshal Patel. Before we go, Shubhobrata is saying, okay, this is for you, Orgo. Rahul Tripathi. Any thoughts on him?
राहुल का नाम तो लास्ट 3-4 सीजन से हम लोग सुन रहे हैं बार बार करके एंड we have told this in various shows during IPL that Rahul Tripathi is someone who, because KKR didn't perform that well, his innings of 30s and 40s didn't get noticed. But he was one player who
True.
was very consistent, either scoring 30 or a 50 or somewhere scoring a quick fire 25. And remember, he is someone who is better suited to open. But because Nitish Rana and Shubman Gill was opening, he had to bat at number three. But still, he made an impact. So yeah, Rahul Tripathi
Yeah,
is someone
I
who
I
is
think we
making
have
it.
stressed on this time and again that both of us thought he should have opened. Either of Gill or Rana should have come at one down, especially because Rana had already done really well last season. When he came one down, and but my only problem with with Rahul Tripathi is Shubhabrato. He consistently got the 30s and 40s. Probably if he went on to make 70s, once he starts making those 60s 70s regularly, that is when you will get noticed. Also, at number three, you do have a chance, especially with KKR's openers struggling. He did have chances of scoring big. He did get the starts consistently that Orgo is talking about, but he still needs to be more. He needs to score bigger. He needs to stay more. He needs to take more responsibility. That's the point. Any other names, any other suggestions? You guys have to do, simple stuff. Subscribe, press the bell icon so that you get notifications every single time we put up a video. Also, you will also have certain players whom you liked, you didn't like, might not match our list. So why don't you share that with us in the comment section, in the Facebook video, in the YouTube video, wherever you want, and follow us in Facebook, Instagram, and please subscribe in YouTube. Yeah, come on. Thank you so much. Orgo, next time come with better bag of jokes.
Otherwise, I will bombard you with more pure jokes. So remember that. चेतावनी है ये.
Please save me from Orgo's jokes and please subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better his sense of humor will get. I can guarantee you that. For now, bye guys. Stay at home, stay safe, and take care.